Hi everyone and welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. For today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make these beautiful fondant bows using just one circle cutter. Yes, just a circle cutter. And these perfectly symmetrical ruffles using a very simple piece of equipment that is not expensive. It's a very quick, easy cake to make when you know how and you know what equipment to use. As always, I'm going to guide you through everything in a simple step-by-step format. Let's make a start, everyone, and thank you all for your amazing support. Taking a small circle cutter and using a firm fondant or modelling paste, simply start by cutting out 2 circles. You want the paste to be relatively thin as these are going to be the bows. You then want to trim off a small section at the top of each of the circle. You will need 2 circles for each bow. Taking some edible glue, place a small amount on the rim of the small half of each circle that you have cut. Take the larger half and simply place this directly over the small one. Simply lift up each circle, fold it in half and then pinch directly in the centre. And now you have each half of the bow ready to glue together. Using just a small amount of edible glue, I simply placed this on the centre of the bow. You place the other one directly over the top, and then I use a ball tool just to secure this into place. Here, all I have done is cut a small strip of fondant. Again, it's a firm fondant, or you can use modelling paste. And you simply want to wrap this directly around the centre and make sure it's glued at the back. So for the final part of this really simple bow, again, I've just hand cut 2 strips of fondant. Stuck those together, you want to place on a small amount of edible glue and then simply add the bow to the top. They really are that easy to make. I simply repeated this process for the other bows. First of all, I'm going to apply the ruffles to the cake and then show you how easy and simple they are to make. So all I have done is applied a small amount of edible glue. This is a 6-inch round cake, and you will need 3 of each colour for each layer. You simply trim down the final piece just to fit in the gap that you have. But look how easy they are to apply. They are all symmetrical, they all look the same, and they were really quick and easy to make. So I've just used different colours in different contrasts. Now let me show you what the secret is to making these. I have used the Katie Sue medium ruffle silicone mould. So as you can see, this is the perfect pattern that we have had on our cake. I'm going to show you the best way to use it and just how simple and easy it really is to achieve. I've also got a few hints and tips to help you get it out of that mould without distorting it by accident in any way. Let's make a start. The first thing I do is add a small amount of icing sugar directly to the mould, and then I simply tip it out just so there's not too much in there. You can also use Trex vegetable fat, as that does help. Roll out a sausage shape. You want to be using a very firm fondant. You can use modelling chocolate or modelling paste. Be careful not to add too much, and as you can see here, all I do is use my fingers to carefully push this fondant directly into the mould. The fondant that I choose to use with this is the sugar paste, as it is very firm and you don't need to add any Tylo powder to it. Once I've done this, a good tip for you, place it either in the fridge or, if you're in a rush, in a freezer. It will just help the fondant firm up. It won't dry in the fridge due to the humidity, but just look how easily it comes away from the actual mould. I then used a steamer after applying all of those ruffles directly to the cake. This is just a great way to get rid of any excess icing sugar that has come out of the mould. Once you have left this to set, it will no longer be shiny and you will just have a beautiful cake covered in perfect ruffles. In order to add the edible bows, I then simply used a very small amount of edible glue. These have been left for a while just to set slightly so they are easier to handle, and you can see that the cake is no longer as shiny because it's also been left to dry. Simply place this wherever you want it on the cake, and then using a ball tool, I just push this under the bow to push directly into the fondant that's actually on the cake, just to help it stick better. And it really is as simple and as easy as that to create a beautiful ruffled cake covered with edible bows. Happy baking, everyone. I really do hope I've helped you again today. This would be perfect for so many different celebrations, but it's the fact that you can speed up the process now using one of those innovative pieces of equipment. Thank you again, and I'll be back soon with an awful lot more new, completely free content.